what?
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
This
Sorry,
some
what's
minutes
it
ago.
all about?
No. Some
Why,
minutes
man?
ago, we just argue about life.
Okay.
Like you said, God.
What's the purpose?
Yeah.
And what's
Exactly.
the meaning
Why
of
do
life?
we
Before we
exist?
came down, just I was talking to him. I was telling him that why is it that we are tending to believe what we've been told to believe?
Yeah.
Like, what if there's more to it? What if it's not even the way it is? What if it's different from what we believe? Like,
Okay.
I was generally talking about, I don't want to be like, oh, I'm talking about, okay, they said we have God, right? There's God exists and everything like that. And God is all-knowing, is all-loving and everything.
Yeah.
And He knows the beginning and end of human life. And there's heaven and earth. Then why is it that God created some people to eventually go to heaven and some people will eventually go to hell? Like, since you already know the human life and everything, like, why can't everything just be good? Why are we believing what we are told? What if there's just a different concept to everything?
What if I was to tell you that everything that we've been taught is a deception designed to mislead God's creation, so that we will take up evil, what they call evil, or we will treat each other poorly, because if we knew and understood that we were all God or God's expression, then we would want to treat each other more respectfully and more lovingly and so on.
Yeah.
That's what I truly believe that. In terms of why is it so like dark and light, or good and bad, or evil and all of that, the best answer I can give you, because there's probably loads of answers that I could give you, but the best answer is probably that God is everything. And God created this world of duality, of dark and light, night and day, summer and winter. And I think and evil and good. And I think that we need to come into the school of hard knocks in a way, in order to be tested. Because if you arrived here and I just handed you 10 million pounds and said, look, you just go and sit in a hotel room or whatever and never do anything with your life, that would spoil you. But if you've got to go out and experience hardship and learn to overcome that, learn to love despite that, then you will truly be the master of your own ship.
Okay, can I ask a question related to what you just said? Why do we need to experience hardship? Why is it that we believe that if we don't experience hardship, we won't appreciate what we have?
Yeah.
Why can't it just be like, you want something,
Yeah.
you work towards it, not through core hardship, but you get it?
There's an ancient belief that we go through ages, dark ages, light ages, golden ages, and, bronze ages, and so on. And it may be that we're in a dark age, where evil and wrongdoing and the controlling and the lying and the deceiving of God's creation is just a natural part of that. Like say in the wintertime, there's different insects that are doing work on the forest floor than there is in the summertime.
Yeah.
And those insects that were doing work in the winter are now being eaten by the birds in the summer, kind of thing. So I feel like, because I'm certain that there is huge deception at play, huge intention to create shortage and hardship. It's by design. I mean, there is so much wealth in this world that if the world chose to live in love and share and all of that, and not be coveting, one of the deadly sins, if we were not doing those things, then there would be plenty of abundance, plenty of love, and we would actually be able to foster our own creative being, because the more I have you in fear, the more I have you under my thumb, then the less creative power you have.
Yeah, that's true. Because I understand, because most times we have this fear of, oh, if I do this will happen. There is someone there's a power up there, trying to be like, you can't go out of your shell. There's nothing more to this thing I'm pushing to you.
Yeah.
And there's more to it.
Yeah, and in the old days, they used to use God to say, God's watching you, and if you do any bad, He's going to send you to hell, And I don't know that is true. I think there is a story about souls rising up towards heaven and others that are having to naturally descend to the hell in order to kind of do that journey of going to the bottom of the barrel and then working our way back up again. So we may be many different souls together, some that are on their way up and some that are on their way down. But the heaven and hell can actually also be just simply your own experience here. We can create like that man was saying just now about adultery. Let's say you have an adulterous situation, and you create a hell for yourself because now having to fight with all the emotion of that and lying and blah blah blah. So you
only feel guilty with your conscience.
So that's your own hell. Or you're coveting the possessions that you have, or you're going to spend your whole working life just chasing after this, Mercedes-Benz or whatever. And that's a form of hell, really. And I think
Yeah.
that so we can create our own heaven or our own hell. And once we know that we are meant to be the master of that, and we're meant to balance ourselves, hot and cold, dark and light, good and evil, we're meant to come into balance for ourselves. But not me telling you to come into balance for yourself. You finding your own journey to your inner peace. And when you find your own inner peace, then your life will be on the most part will be heaven.
Yeah, but I believe if you say that, like people should, like how will I put it? People should tend to know their right from their wrong. Like if you know you're right and if you know this is right, then do it. If you know it's wrong, do it. What if what I perceive as right is actually what someone else perceives as wrong? And if you are saying if we should leave a word like that, then it will be like a collision. Because
remember what you do with yourself, for yourself, as long as you're not injuring or harming another and their stuff, then you can do whatever you want to, you see. We should not be putting constraints on you to say that you can't do this and you can't do that. No, you decide. If you want to go and drink 5 beers tonight or 10 beers tonight, that's up to you. You've got to deal with the hangover tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What if someone says it's right as, oh, I have to kill this person, that's my right, that's the right thing to do.
Not killing.
No, I'm saying like you're saying, yeah, I'm just saying like, no, life is very funny. There's a way people can twist things at the end of the day.
So if I propagandize you to go to war with your neighboring country, see, I've done the evil thing. But what they do is they try and put that, they make the soldier or the soldier take the responsibility for that. So the boy who goes off to war is carrying some kind of soul debt, just like I am from my time in a war, a long time ago, 35 years ago. And so I was propagandized by lies to go in, or to do. And Lord said I had to do 2 years in the army in my country at the time, and so I was
Extended.
that situation was kind of created. So where do I go from there? A lot of people maybe turn to crime because they've come from a really tough background, and then they end up doing things that, it's like, oh, you got to carry a price for that, and you're going to have to kind of make good for that in this lifetime. If you don't make good for that in this lifetime, I'm not the person who's going to judge that.
Exactly.
But I have a theory that if we're on the soul elevator, and we maybe slip back a few levels, if that happens and we're on our way down to the hell, if you like, on a reincarnation cycle, but maybe where other people are on their way up, and they end this life in love and not in fear and not in war, and they are maybe then given the next incarnation up, the next level up.
Yeah.
But I don't say that because I think that we're here to win prizes from God. I just think that we're meant to do the best that we can with what we have, and then that's really all that can be asked of you. It's best when you know that what's stacked against you is a whole lot of deception, a whole lot of intention to pit me against you, gender against gender, religion against religion. All of these things are designed to have us separate and divided because we are weaker that way, and the system can control us much more. And so then you end up taking all of your eyes are the most important receptors of information, and we end up taking all sorts of noise in from the TV and other things that are harmful to ourselves, just like we might be eating too much KFC or whatever.
Yeah, just manipulate our thoughts and everything. I understand. That's true.
Well, my question now is that if I may ask you, what taught you to this?
Like, what brought about this whole concept for you?
It was only 2014 or so that I found out that the 9/11 thing wasn't done by the Muslims, that there's a whole nother backstory to all of that. And then I started looking at other things, like how Vietnam War came about, and even World War II and World War I, the story that we're told about these huge events that costed so many lives. Or even like in the case of, say, Africa or in the West, in the Caribbean, the way that countries are being controlled, it's almost like piracy. It's almost like a gangsterism that is being used against us by the suit and tie people to miscontrol us. So then I had DMT in 2015, which is ayahuasca. And that made me, I was an atheist, and I saw that there is a God, and we are eternal beings of light. I had that, it's 7 minutes experience on DMT.
Okay.
And that was like the game changer for me. And then I was willing to look at, wow, maybe the earth is flat, because the whole story of the earth being flat has always been a bit of a joke. But I was willing to look at, wow, maybe our entire education, our entire establishment that we understand, from the king to the education department, the professors, the university system. All of these things were designed by the people who've been trying to mislead us.
Yeah, just to put these people in this kind of this space that we can't.
Yeah, but you can pick on any religion that you don't like and say, look, the children who come up in families of that religion, some of them are going to become preachers of that religion. They're not lying. They're just the ones who really took the message to heart, and they're good at retelling it. Yeah. And so they become the preachers of that faith.
And then we need to stop seeing people that don't believe in the religions like as the bad people. We need to stop that. Like, people have different paths to take. We need to just, and I really appreciate your concept and your view today, because it's really bringing me to think more into like what life is generally and what we as individuals what our purpose is in this world.
Yeah, and
not the regular belief that it's there.
And it's like you're meant to. Each of us are creator beings. Each of us have gifts and talents, But those gifts and talents are beaten out of us by the system by the time we're old enough to really express them. Yeah. So your journey is to find your own best gift and talent and be offering that to the world and your community, and in that way you will be in your most heavenly place.
When we talk about I will say, like, I want to say maybe you're a military man once, now you're a civilian now, right?
Well, only for 2 years. I'm 55.
For 2 years. Now you're a civilian.
You're 55? You don't look that age. Oh my God.
Thanks.
And now, look at what is happening between Ukraine and
Ukraine and Russia.
Mm-hmm. We have government. We have people in power. We have people that can talk to them. Is that not a game? Why can't they stop the war? It is affecting the civilian more.
That's what he said earlier about like there are some people trying to push the narrative of like the war is good and everything, but it's just,
and we believe it's nature.
Yeah, so it's about a propaganda machine that gets me in Ukraine to fear or want to go to war with you in Russia, or vice versa. And the same people who we're calling on to end the war are the same people behind the scenes who are engineering the war.
Like just triggering the war, keeping pushing.
Understand that, remember that, at the first level there's banking. The bankers make so much money out of war because your country, just like Angola where I was in war, that country has to borrow money to pay for the military. And the Russians are selling Angola all their old tanks and fighter jets and all this sort of stuff off their sort of back catalogue, right? Now for 10, 20, 30, 50 years, Angola must pay them with oil back for the war that they had, right? So I'm the banker and I'm also the arms dealer, so I definitely want you to go to war. But more importantly, that there are these meta games about creating a world order in which certain entities come under certain control. And if I can create the reason to go to war with you, then people around me will justify that. In this country, people are so pro one country and so anti another country. You must see that, right? I don't want to say too much because it goes on YouTube, this. You're censored on what you can say on these topics. But I truly saw that. I saw in this country, they went from COVID was the biggest nightmare. In 48 hours, it was just about Ukraine and Russia. And everybody, all like sheep, were just all drawn into a different direction, and now that's all they can think about. And they're given who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. It depends, one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. Yeah. And that's all it is that they want you to choose a side. They want you to be in the game. But I say to people that you're meant to find your own balance, which means like not left and right, but center. And center of the head and the groin is in the heart. And center of the left shoulder and the right shoulder is in the heart. So this is where we're meant to come. And if you inscribe that, you're inscribing the Christian cross, incidentally. So I think that the Christian cross is pointing to the center, which is your own heart.
Yeah.
Heart is an anagram for earth, and I think we are in the center of God's creation right here on earth. And this place is a place created in love. But it's obviously mankind at war with itself, or whether there's a devil, or it's just greedy bankers.
There's manipulation going on.
But for sure, they don't want us to know who we are at the spiritual level, which is why they gave us the globe. You see, the globe is a creation of Big Bang and evolution. That's what that is. A flat Earth enclosed in a bubble, in a system, is what could be created or had to be created. Big Bang could not create a flat Earth.
let's end this with money cause problem.
With
All right.
Money cause more problem.
money.
Yeah.
Well, it's the love of money.
Everything is about money.
Take my fly. It's the love of money, you know, because you know
Money
we
causes
need
more
a.
problem.
You know, if you're going to come and do some work for me, I need a means of giving you some energy in return,
Yeah,
right?
something
So
to,
we do
like,
need a method of that.
Keep you motivated
Yeah,
to keep doing it.
but the problem is that money is not just the cash that's in your pocket. It's an entire system of valuing
Yeah.
and devaluing your money, your currency.
Yeah.
So the thing that you can buy within your pocket tomorrow is less than today.
All right.
All right.
Thank
Thank you.
Good
So it's
Lovely
nice
to talk
talking
to you guys.
Yeah.
Lovely.
All
I
right.
have more in my heart. Next time, I ask
Thank
more
you.
questions.
Thanks, brother.